Welcome everybody. This is Chris Dwayne from ChrisDwayne, Every week I release 2 new mini mintages that are available for 1 week only. We only mint what we sell, and they tend to go up in price on eBay. This week we have a new series called Chiefs, which will feature Indian chiefs. This one's Geronimo, and then the other one is part of the World War meme series called Unfixable, which is highlighting Elon Musk's surrender of Doge to an unfixable government. You can find both of these over at ChrisDwayne, This week I wanted to talk to you and get some framework of what I'm expecting for 2026. 2026 is going to be a breakout year for silver, way more than even what we had last year. I expect way over 400% returns for 2026 as the price of silver goes up. And this is reflected with a recent Bank of America call saying that silver could go up to $309. I actually think it's going to go up even higher than that because there's no limit to the amount of dollars that can go chasing after the very finite amount of silver out there. What I would expect is that we're going to have, instead of a stair-step move in the price of silver, we're going to have a sold-out LBMA default. All the paper traders are going to stand for delivery and take the last ounces of This is a race to the last ounce, last gallon of oil between the United States and China, and who's going to control the world essentially for the next 100 years. I think that there's going to be a world war between U.S. and China, that this is going to escalate to from an economic challenge to a military one. And silver is going to be a very important part of that. Silver is being used in all these military weapons. There's anything from talking about pounds of silver for every missile that blows up. And then this will certainly lead to maybe not a shooting war, but definitely an economic war as they race for the last ounce of silver. Silver is the most strategic metal on Earth. Think of the trillions of dollars of weapons that use silver, and once you realize that silver is not replaceable in any of these high-tech weapons, that the price of silver can go up exponentially, as it is a giffen good that the higher the price goes, the more people will buy it. And not only does it have 10,000 industrial uses, it also has monetary and investment use too, which would be another demand that would seek to push the price of silver even higher. I would say that there's even a spiritual value, as silver is the only means of defeating the bankers. Ultimately, that's what this all comes down to, is that we're stuck in a debt-based monetary system, and the only way that this is going to end is with a hyperinflation crack-up boom at the end. And I think it's going to materialize in silver far more than gold or any other asset on Earth. So stacking silver is a silver bullet for the banksters' debt-based monetary paradigm, and also a silver shield to protect your friends and family from the coming inflation. Trump is responsible for almost 25% of the total federal debt in his term that he's been president, so he's not afraid of printing money and to make the system flow. In 2026, the United States has a huge amount of debt that needs to roll over at higher interest rates, and it's $9 trillion this year. And that's on top of the $1 trillion deficits that we're currently running, trade deficits, and $1 trillion interest payments. This is all huge money that's being chased all over the world, and it's starting to find its way into silver. 2025 saw silver go up 147%. and had one of the best years that it's ever had. But I think 2026 is going to be even a bigger year as all this comes into focus. There's only one way that this is going to end, is a global hyperinflation of silver, and I think silver is going to sell out globally. This is the moment where you'll finally have the final weak hand selling out of silver, because everybody that buys it will want a 10-time return on investment. And I think it's easy to point the way for silver to go up over 10 times with the gold to silver ratio. Right now it's about 1 to 60 gold to silver ratio. It takes 60 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. But the mining ratio is only a 1 to 6. So that would show a 10 times value of silver going up relative to gold at the time that I think that we're going to have a global hyperinflationary collapse, and all the asset markets are going to collapse relative to silver. Silver will be seen as a single asset hyperinflation as it sells out and goes crazy this year. There's no limit to the amount of money that they will print to keep this system going, and there's only very little bit of an amount of silver above ground. There's an exponential use, industrial uses in technology and industry and military. So what I'm telling you is that we will have a long way to go with silver, and that even though it looks like a hockey stick, this is the beginning of a global hyperinflation. I keep pointing off the chart of what it was, hyperinflation in Germany, where it goes from 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to a million to a 10 million to 100 million to a billion to a 10 billion to 100 billion to $1 trillion, all within weeks and months of it, the end of the currency. And there's a strong concerted effort, I think, that from the whole world is going to dump the dollar and chase after these very fine amount of goods that are still out there. So we have a long way to go, and I want you to hold on to your silver till we get to the other side of the hyperinflation. That's what the goal is, to get to the other side of this, not to sell out for paper dollar terms along the way, because you'll look like a fool. For people who sold at $50, they already look bad because it's already up at $80. But eventually, people will see that they'll go to 100, 1,000, a million, a billion, and even a trillion as the currency gets devalued relative to the assets out there. So the goal is to hold through to the other side of a hyperinflation, and until there's a new silver standard that's created where you can borrow against your silver and buy land at a tax-free basis. I keep bringing this up because I watch eBay every day. There's still a bunch of double-digit silver that's available, Silver Shield, that's on eBay that should be bought up immediately. These strikes are very rare, and they're going to become worth much more when the whole situation happens. And there's also the 5-ounce proofs. They're selling for below $100 an ounce. And these are if you don't have a 5-ounce proof in your collection, you definitely want them. They're the most major showcases out there of what a beautiful silver coin can look like. And you can find them all over on eBay. But if you want to get involved in this week's Silver Shield, it's at ChrisDuaneSilverShieldCoins.com. Thank you.